20 years ago, this was the scene of the last war on Earth. This Pacific island is where the future was built, where the old guard, the fossilized establishment, was brought down. 20 years have been spent building a new Earth, a world of plenty and peace. But the old guard never went away. The remaining monsters of the 20th century, the death lovers, the power brokers, the old men who lived on theft and hate, have formed a cabal with the intent to break the world apart. With new machinery unimagined by the outside world, they have incorporated the island into a newly grown chicane of similar islands. The Earth literally forced by machines to throw islands up into an artificial design. The Cabal control their operations from the shielded island in the center of the chicane. Operations for war against a world that's given war up. It's up to the new society of 2032 to relearn war, to revive the last of the adaptive cruisers. Give it the ability to lend battle vehicles autonomous control by bonding their systems with the chip-contained minds of dead soldiers, and to send them all into the chicane to fight their way through to Island Zero and the nightmare waiting there to be set loose on the planet. These are hostile waters.
Walker? Walker?
Morning, Church. Have you slept?
I think I may have drifted for 5 minutes. It's hard, you know.
Church, I've had word from Minitech. They finished their report on the missiles and warheads.
I have the full analysis here.
No heat signature, self-replicating fuel, fast strike.
70% of the missile capable of carrying payload. I skimmed through it on the way up here.
There aren't many people who have access to these technologies. Any of these technologies, not anymore. A few of our people, 1 or 2 from Minitech, no more. We made sure of that. Over the past 20 years, we've had our agents keep close tabs on all the radicals, and none of them have developed any significant weaponry, certainly nothing of this magnitude.
Maybe a new group, one that slipped through the system?
Nobody slips through the system. We've got more agents out there than there are faction members. If there was a split, we'd know about it. For Christ's sake, we control most of them. They can't take a shit without us knowing about it.
Who then?
Come here. Some months ago, it came to our attention that large shipments of raw materials were being routed to an island chicane in the Pacific Ocean. Central's records show that new research facilities are planned for the area and that some work has begun, but this doesn't explain the quantities that have been shipped there. 2 weeks ago, we sent a small ops team into the area to carry out preliminary investigations.
And?
And We haven't heard from them. Their links have been disabled.
Any clues as to why?
Nothing but speculation and conjecture. But with that, alongside the attacks last night, the disappearance of 3 of our most prolific scientists over the past 12 months means we're fast running out of options. We need to act. At 4 o'clock this morning, Central gave the green light to reopen the Antaeus program.
The Antaeus program? But the Antaeus technology is gone, destroyed. All the vessels disassembled after the war.
They were. All but 2. Look around you, Church. We use the same technology to purify the air, to provide food and clothing, to manage and maintain our environment. We've turned the technology into something that benefits every person in this city. Every inhabitant of the Earth. Sit down, Church. There's something you don't know about the Antaeus cruisers. Information that only a handful of people have ever been privy to, and that's been kept classified for the past 20 years.
I'm listening.
You've heard of Soulcatcher?
Classified 1990s American military program? Theoretical research into storing human brain functions on silicon. It was closed in the late 90s to make funds available for the advancement of the SETI programs.
Mostly correct, but it was never closed. Far from it. Every crew member on an Antaeus vessel was fitted with a Soulcatcher chip. If they ever died in combat, their thoughts, their abilities, their minds were stored on silicon, ready to be salvaged and used again to pilot especially adapted craft built using the cruiser's onboard nanofactories. That's not all. The Soulcatcher system proved fine for most tasks, but it was crucial that the captain of a cruiser should always be corporeal, a real human with a real mind. This presented the scientists and technicians with a problem. The chips could survive being inactive for years on end, but how could a human be stored? How could they put a human being in stasis? The answer, unfortunately, was that they couldn't.
So who?
Walker.
Sir?
Church.
Sir.
Have you finished your briefing yet, Walker?
No, sir. I was just...
It'll have to wait. I've just heard from Central, and the news isn't good. Of the reactivations, only 1 has been successful. Antaeus Prototype 00.
What about 04?
Cerebral damage. It won't respond to the reactivation signal. We'll have to go with just the 1 cruiser. It's within a day of the last known position of the Spec Ops team, and is in a serviceable condition.
When you say serviceable...
Propulsion is online. Command is online. The net link is working. Scanners are online. The main guns are down. Replication is offline. Automated lifting is offline.
How much can be repaired using the nano repair systems?
Providing we're careful, enough to hold the ship together, until we can get it to a disused wet dock, situated 65 kilometers east of the current position. A mini-tech repair team is being dropped into the area at 2300 hours today. They're going to stay concealed until the cruiser is within an hour of the wet dock, just in case we're being observed. They'll then activate the automated service systems and dock the carrier.
This is an artifact of nanotechnology, a science of small things. These are assemblers, powerful computerized engines, each just a dusting of atoms wide. One alone can begin building an object from nothing up, 1 atom at a time. Millions of assemblers could sit unnoticed in the crevices of your hands. Billions of them could build a plane from the ruins of a tank and a few handfuls of dirt within hours. The untold trillions in the adaptive cruiser's creation reactor will create new weapons and vehicles from what the scavengers bring back within seconds.
I was the last of the solo helicopter strikers. This outer band of islands was where the fundamentalists made their last stand. If there weren't going to be any more churches, then by God, there weren't going to be any more people. It was the last real fight on Earth, and I loved it. I didn't regret dying in it. I was an aviator. We don't lay down and die, crap out in a comfy armchair with a fat wife, and tick like kids dripping all over us. We just drop out of the air. The soul catcher chip knew what was happening. I felt it crackle, take a deep breath, summon itself, and suck me in. My name is Ransom.
The people have made so many changes since our time passed. We have much to do once they have been beaten again.
In the old days, we could just take back the means of production. But they've got free creation engines on street corners now, pumping out food and clothes for nothing. Solar energy collectors in orbit, for God's sake. Beaming free energy back down. We need to bomb those fucking things out of the sky for a start.
Obviously, we need to start from scratch. Major urban areas need to be taken back to the Stone Age. The infrastructure of their society needs to be wiped out. There can be no half measures. Once that's done, we can go in, reintroduce the concept of money. Money for labor, food for money. Without those basic relationships, there can be no control.
And without control, we may as well just end all life on this planet and see if the cockroaches can get it right. 1 billion years from now.
This is the operating mind of the carrier, addressing scavenger vehicle and all souls within its zone of movement. The stone being scanned is apparently an informational device, broadcasting on a low electromagnetic frequency, disruptive to our communications electronics. Bring it aboard for further study.
You?
I was in London.
I remember London.
Government troops were firing low-frequency electromagnetic weapons into the crowds in Whitehall, inciting people to riot. It made them easier for the snipers and the point men to pick off. I was part of the fire team that took them down. I was there when we liberated England from the bastards.
And now they want it all back. "20 years. You know, I'd managed to forget almost all of it. The noises people make when bullets hit them. The way you scream when you're killing someone with your hands. I hated that most of all. Because it doesn't come from you. And then you come to with blood on your hands and skin under your nails. And your throat's raw and you don't know why because you don't realize you've been shrieking all the time you've been... I don't like having been a killer.
Neither do I. But if I died with the rest of my team in London, if you died on the beach, there may have been no one else qualified to run this operation today. We have to live with ourselves in order that no one else ever has to die.
Look at that. The city. It wasn't anything 20 years ago. Not even there. We took control of the world back from the few and used it as the many. And look what we did.
Streets lined with plants that capture pollution and sequester it as the pigment in flowers, decontaminating it as they bloom. Public creation engines on every corner that make free food and clothes and goods and anything out of dirt and waste. Tiny organic medicines riding the air that heal us as we breathe. Disease-free immortality. Our grasp exceeds the moon, and we stand on the verge of greatness. 20 years of making the world right are embodied here. Worth relearning war for. Worth killing for.
It's getting colder. The further we slip into the heart of darkness, the colder its pulse grows. The local fauna and flora are not designed to survive in these temperatures. I wonder what is. What human invention gives with one hand, it takes with the other. Hell lies implicit in a gift of Eden. The cornucopia of the nanotech assembler has also given the world its worst weapon since the atomic bomb, the disassembler. Nanotech engines programmed only to rip their host apart from the atomic level outwards. The terrible versatility of the technology makes everything equally vulnerable. Buildings, trees, people, societies.
It's getting colder. Why are they chilling the islands?
Our likenesses were deliberately fetished for the outside world by our creators, our owners. They made fictions of aliens. Things from other worlds here to have sex with you, to violate you, to disturb you. There never were any aliens, but our gods, this committee of mad soldiers and conspiratorial governors, decided there should be, just to help keep you scared, keep you confused. So they built their own.
The cold is more intense the further in we go. Around the cold generators, our vehicles begin to seize. Here we see alien mobiles, dead in this awful chill. Too many of their vessels look organic to us. Flesh, mammalian, warm-blooded in an alien winter.
We are a social species, communicating on the basic community level by pheromone and complex spore releases. The basic social spore codes are archived within this stone. Herein are the traditional housing structures. By the age of 5, we have learned to harness our personal organic creation engines within our bowels to excrete nanotech assemblers. We therefore build our homes by smearing our construction excreta over the available material. Here we breed in family groups, asexual, infertile until we attain emotional stability. Here we make our lives until it is time to do what we were created for.
Here, in the final chicane of sea bases, are the great engines that will be put into service against the rest of the planet. The machines that will spread nanobreakers across the ocean, designed to devour, at the very least, the food and power-making technologies of the rest of Earth. The machines that will program dissent out of the human mind, that will incinerate pockets of resistance and reduce entire countries into puddles of protein, leaving the buildings empty for resettlement. At least, that's what we thought. The human cabal behind the chicane. The species they grew to make war for them have taken over, and unlike the Cabal that grew them, they have no reason to leave anyone on Earth alive.
Mainframes was wrong. We're patching you into the feed. Church, get that link running.
This is Leonesse, an island resort grown from the depths of the ocean just 2 years ago. A design paradise for citizens from around the globe.
We received a distress signal from the governor's office 2 hours ago. This is what we found when we arrived. Our men have searched everywhere for survivors. There's not a soul left alive.
Every man, woman, and child has been killed. Skin burnt off, flayed, Others sliced in half. Organs taken.
We think they're heading north, Captain, to Greenland or the Arctic. Our research center on that island you reclaimed from the Cabal has come under siege. It's located just a few hours northwest of Leonesse.
Church. Out.
But you should know, it's got a creation engine on it, just like the carriers.
There is a notion called terraforming that has held popular theoretical cachet for some time. It holds that given the correct level of technology, the potential is there to change the environment of another planet into one like our own. This is nothing the human race has yet been able to put into practice. It's never been considered that someone might do it to us. These central positions look less and less like somewhere a human could survive. They have been unterraformed.
Disassembler at 50%.
Starting attack.
Creation engines holding at 90%. Creation engines approaching critical. They're going to go too early, Walker.
You've got to hold them together, Church. If they don't go at the same time, this won't work. Disassembler approaching critical. Okay, Church. Let them go.
Thank you, Captain.
It ends. The great engines of destruction are crippled, the forces of human extinction routed. You have come back from the dead, gone to hell, and given the human race back its future. Miles from here, in another circle of the island fortress that you've penetrated, there are screams, the sounds of alien frustration, the sound of a nightmare's death. The enemy creation engine settles with a sigh, its foundations blasted, and gently collapses through the chill, unearthly air into the dark sea. Your own vessel, tested to her limits, cracks apart now, her revenant task done. The ship's creation engine drops through still fathoms to grateful rest. The two live machines, still suffused with the energy of making, lie together. And here, in the dark, something changes. The engines move closer. There is the bright and awful spark of creation in the ocean night. Terrible fire and motion in the deep. These are hostile